Lecturer reported to police for hate crime after saying English are wankers. A time-old and honoured tradition that's been around since time immemorial. The rivalry between the English and the Scots. Or the rivalry between the English and the Celts. It's not just us, it's the other Celtic nations as well. A university lecturer who quoted a speech from Trainspotting was accused of committing a hate crime. Oh, maybe this will get everybody in Scotland a little bit woke to how fucking overreaching hate crime laws are starting to become. James Mooney, a film and philosophy lecturer at Edinburgh University, was reported to police for writing on Instagram, spent this morning telling a group of visiting American students that we don't really hate the English, but that they are wankers. Welcome to Scotland. Classic quote. From one of Scotland's most iconic movies. To this day, it's probably still the most iconic movie that we've ever produced. Right? Trainspotting is a timeless classic and a fantastic film. It was a reference to the famous scene where Ewan McGregor's character, Mark Renton, rants about Scotland being colonised by the English. It is. Some hate the English. I don't, he says. They're just wankers. We, on the other hand, are colonised by wankers. Can't even find a decent culture to be colonised by. It's not exactly wrong, is it? He posted a photo on Instagram of American students watching the 1996 film based on Edinburgh author Irvine Welsh's book. Police Scotland confirmed they had received a report about xenophobic comments being made online last month. The force said their officers had carried out a full investigation and concluded no crime had been committed. The funny thing is the vast majority of people who would be hunted down for that would be the SNP. Because the banter I give about the English is friendly banter. If I call the English wankers, I don't just expect it, I demand they call me it back. Because that's banter. The best way to get along with people is to be able to rinse on them, they rinse on you, and you can have a laugh about it. That's banter, that's what we do. So if I call an Englishman a wanker, I demand that he call me one back, because then that means we're friends. Right? Mr. Mooney, who has worked at the university for 16 years and also regularly guest lectures at Sweden's Jönköping University and Arcadia University in the US. In December 2017, he was also appointed Access and Outreach Development Director at the university's Centre for Open Learning. A Police Scotland spokesperson said, on Monday the 11th of February, police in Edinburgh received a report of xenophobic comments made online, which means that some salty little bitch got offended by the comment and went, I'm going to call the police because he hurt my feelings. He hurt my feelings. Arrest that man. He caused emotional damage to me because that's a crime now that's worthy of the police's attention. A full investigation was conducted, police time and resources wasted, and it was established that no crime had been committed. Wow, then it was all for nothing. However, the matter was recorded as a hate incident. No further police action was required. Edinburgh University declined to comment. This was the same university that I was deplatformed from for being too controversial. Me and Sargon were supposed to do a debate there, and we get deplatformed because we're too controversial. It's so weird how these people had a opportunity to, embarrass us and humiliate us with their extremely strong and powerful arguments. I mean, see, the best way to get people to stop following someone is to completely discredit them in front of a large audience. They could have done that. They could have ruined me and Sargon. Oh, Sargon and Dankula's over party. I mean, that could have happened, but they completely knocked back and shut down the opportunity. I wonder why that was. You wouldn't think it would be because they thought they would lose, and we would end up looking right, and in fact gain more followers. You don't think that, do you? Perish the thought. Perish the thought that such a sneaky, underhanded tactic would be used. I disavow. The post is understood to have been reviewed by senior staff and not deemed a breach of the university's social media policy. Oh, that's funny that. Are the English fair game? Are you allowed to be xenophobic towards the English now? That seems a little bit... I wonder what would have happened if the post was on Muslims or something like that. I wonder what would have happened then. But yeah, see, as far as being able to rinse on the English, and the English being able to rinse on us, that is hundreds and hundreds of years old. That has been around for a very, very, very long time. It's something that we've always done. In fact, it's a stereotypical factor that's actually given to the Scottish. You know, see, whenever you think of the stereotypical Scottish person, he's ginger, he has a kilt, he's probably quite big and muscly, but has a great big beer belly, and he hates the English. That's the stereotypical factors that are attributed to the Scottish people. Like that, for the most part, it's true. It's not exactly a stereotype. But I mean, this is something that's very, very common and commonly practiced, and like the SNP are the people that are pushing most for these hate speech laws. And basically, if this is something that gets investigated, then the entirety of the fucking SNP are going to get investigated under this. If you lick the boot for long enough, eventually you'll be under it. But like the thing is, as well, is this actually does meet the metric. This actually does meet the metric for hate crime, because 2003 Communications Act. Posting a message online that's deemed as grossly offensive. Grossly offensive is a 100% completely subjective term. We have subjective terms in our laws, which means they basically means it totally opens them up to selective prosecution. This law can be enforced and put in place, and prosecutions can happen not on a binary of whether or not there is suspicion of the crime. It's now no longer a binary, it's now completely at the police's own discretion. Because grossly offensive is a subjective term. And police time and resources were wasted on this. So basically what happened to me that could have happened to this guy, the police just decided not to push ahead with it. But the fact is, they could have. They're not doing it right now because they know how bad the kickback would be. Right now they're testing the water with such cases. They did it with me. They did it with Chelsea Russell. They did it with other people. They're basically saying, how much have we managed to brainwash society? You know, how far can we push with how far things have gone? We did Count Dankula. You know, we got a hell of a lot of kickback for that, but we also got a hell of a lot of support. Okay, so we'll put a flag in the ground here. This is as far as we're allowed to go. They did Chelsea Russell, and there was massive outcry, much more than me. Like, the vast majority of people were on her side. So basically, the police went okay, and she appealed and she won, and the police went okay. We're not quite that far yet. We're not quite that far yet, but we'll get there one day. We'll get there one day. We just need to ask the media to put a few things out there to get the public much more on our side, and eventually, you know, maybe 6 years from now, another Chelsea Russell will happen, and then the vast majority of the public will support that decision with Chelsea Russell. And we'll go, okay, we'll put a flag in the ground here. We've managed to get this far. That's what they're doing. And the fact is, it's recorded as a hate crime incident, which means if anything ever happens... What's the same as a police caution, by the way? That's something I found out. Well, it's something I've been told. A hate crime incident getting recorded under your name, what's the same as a police caution? Which means that, see, if you are ever in trouble with the police in future, that can get used against you. The police go, no, we're just cataloguing it, we're just recording it as an incident. No, basically, if you have a lot of these against your name, if you're ever arrested for anything in the future, it can get used against you. It works the same as a caution. Right, so, yeah, that's what this hate crime incident thing is for. So what it basically means is, you know, things that I say, things that Tommy says, things that Sargon says, etc., etc. In future, if we're ever charged with a crime, it could be something minor for breach of the peace. It means, wow, look at all these hate crime incidents that you've got recorded against your name. That means that you're not just going to get a little fine or a slap on the wrist. Boom, you get 6 months. You get the most severe sentence that we can give you. That's why they brought in the hate crime incident thing. It basically means if they record tons and tons and tons of these against a person's name, it means if that person so much as sneezes in future, they're not going to get a minor sentence. The police are going to fucking be able to hammer them with the biggest thing that they can throw at them. That's why they're doing this. Do you want to know how I know that? Because China did the same thing. It's almost like we're following the same model.